Thank you for staying with us. And now we're going to go back to Rivers State in Ogoni, where we have our correspondent, Biola Festus. Biola, can you hear us? Good morning.
Good morning. We can hear you.
Biola, please, can you just give us an update of what's going on generally in Ogoni right now?
Currently in Bori. Now, Bori is the headquarters of Ogoni, comprising of 4 local government areas. So this Bori is the capital of Kana local government area in Rivers State. We've arrived here earlier and sensitive.
It would seem that we have issues with the connection with Biola, who is reporting in from Ogoni. That's the Bori headquarters. She's actually at the area command of the police headquarters in Ogoni. But we'll try and make reconnection with her so that she can give us details about what's happening. Especially, we would like to talk about the security presence there in Ogoni, and also perhaps maybe other wards that she might have been to this morning. But currently in the studio here with us, we have our very first guest who will be joining us to talk about the instances happening inside of the elections for Rivers State. In the studio here with us, we have Mr. Kabir Akingbolu, Mr. Kabir, legal practitioner, by the way. Let me not forget to mention that. You're welcome. It's been a while since I saw you.
For having me, honestly, I have to say that.
Welcome, sir. Grand. First off, I'd like to know what you think. Finally, we're here. It's election day for Rivers State. With everything that we've been discussing over the past many months regarding whether it's coming from the godfatherism instance to how everything broke down, the lawsuits, the demolitions, the state of emergency. If you were to put that in a roundabout way, are you satisfied with the elections, also considering
First of all, I am not satisfied with the circumstances leading to the election.
There we go.
For instance, we had a democratically elected governor, in that state who was suspended, and having been suspended, everybody is expecting him to come in by 19th of September, next month, in about 3 weeks, or in about less than 3 weeks to come. Why should we rush to do an election? I think it should have been, it should have been conducted under him so that people will see, when we talk of justice, it's not that we do justice in our own mind, let it be seen that justice has been seen to have been done. Now, if you are not conducting an election by, let me say, a stranger, because the administrator is a stranger to the people. He was not elected. He didn't campaign to them. He didn't tell them I'm coming. They didn't to tell him to come and rule us. It was just imposed on them. Yes, the law that brought him, yes, constitution, fine. But then, 6 months is a very short time. It will soon go now, and it's going. Why don't we wait? Why don't the government wait and allow this man to come back and do the election? Because I want to think, or I believe strongly that the government will not extend the emergency rule. However, why the rush? This is a question, a 1 million question that has been bothering my mind, and I think it's bothering so many Nigerians. I don't think it's fair.
So, let me cut in there. The fact that, Rivers State was now turned into a state of emergency, and a lot of people complaining that, they don't know retired Ete Bass.
Yes.
So do you think that with this election, do you think it would be null and void? Because first off, a lot of people were saying that, it did not follow the constitutional 90 days notice. So we had about 32 days. Last year was 21. In October, it was 21 days, and then it was ruled null and void. So what do you think about this one?
Let me tell you, you keep on, in Nigeria, the way we do our things sometimes can be different and funny. Why don't we be good students of history? Court has nullified one based on 1 point, and you are still making the same mistake the same time, and another time. I think the issue of notice is very sacrosanct, is fundamental, and is very germane to the validity of any election. So when the normal and requisite notice have not been given, the election is invalid, because the very foundation that the election is standing is wobbled, or it's not even there at all. Right. You can't put something on nothing and expect it to stay. It will certainly collapse, because when you can't put something to nothing, you can only put something to something.
Right.
Do you understand? Because there must be something to receive the something that you are adding. But it's the Isaac Newton law of gravity. So when you have conducted an election in an environment under circumstances that are not only questionable, but it's legal. It's illegal. That notice is what that will kickstart the process of election. You can't just say, oh, we are going for election tomorrow. The issue of the notice is to prepare all political parties, because it's not only PDP that is in Rivers, it's not only APC that is in Rivers, there are a lot of other political parties. So when you don't give the requisite notice, you have not given even grant for them to participate. It happened in the case of Atiku and INEC, when you took Yadra and Jonathan to court, and the court said no, there was no even grant for them to compete.
Right.
Do you understand? You must give parties adequate notice. You must give them adequate facility. You must give them ample opportunity. And when you don't give
but
them
there are excuses that have been given by the RCEC. The excuses are, first off, they noted that these are just conditional, that the 90 days is conditional, and that the circumstances happening in River State are different. First off, there's an emergency rule.
No, you see, it's unfortunate. It's just like somebody saying, why did you shoot a gun? You say, my hand just pulled the trigger. You can't do that. The law, okay, why do we have the law? Why did we make the law in the first place? If it is just conditional, it's just one of those things. It is sacrosanct. And again, we are not only talking here. Court of law has pronounced on it. And what the realist school of thought, when they are defining law, they say law is what the judges say from the bench. If your understanding of it is just one of those things, the court has said it's not one of those things, it is sacrosanct, it is fundamental. Except the court is going to change its position again. But I think, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think it's fair. Why are we in a hurry? 6 months, they don't have time to prepare since 6 months to have conducted this election like 2 months ago or a month ago. No, I don't think it's fair.
What about the vacuum that it's created with the governor not being in seat, Tabas in as the emergency, what do you call it?
Seats in the local governments.
And there is a big vacuum. Salaries need to be signed, projects need to be signed off on, and all of that. So do we really have to wait that long? Don't you think that these are reasons why they should have gone, or they could go ahead with it, even if it's just a 32-day notice?
There is an administrator in place. The administrator in place does not, has all the powers of the governor. It's just like when somebody is an acting. Remember EFCC the other time when they appointed Magu as acting chairman, they refused to confirm me, can continue to work in acting capacity, and he was there for about 6 years. And nobody has nullified any of his actions. If the administrator had gone through the normal route, the election could validly, to me, be conducted under him. That is not the question now. The question now is, did you follow the normal procedure? When you are not following the normal procedure, it means you are working to an answer as if there is a hand of godfatherism here, or they are working to favor some people against the governor. That's what it's looking like to me. I don't know the governor from Adam, but I think it is fair is fair. They should allow him to come and conduct the election. But if they are not going to allow him, follow the law. And I see deluge of, election cases coming after this.
Mr. Kabir, we'll come back to you. Let us go back to Biola in River State. Biola, if you can hear me, please, can you just give us an update of what's happening around you, the turnout, what's the security like in Ogoni right now?
Security in some beefed up right here in Ogoni. We're in Bori currently. Now, earlier we did tell you that materials had not arrived. But right now, materials have arrived and they've started moving. This bus is going to Ward 7 in Kana local government area. Other wards have also loaded their sensitive materials into their vehicles with police escorts, and the police are also trying to make sure that everything is going on smoothly. Of course, we are at their area command. This is the Bori police station, so we are right there. I have to move away from this bus. So they are all moving. If we turn around, you see that buses are moving with materials. So there are words and, of course, polling unit. But it's looking like it's not a rush hour, because some persons are also running because they said they are perhaps running late for the election before they get to the words set up and then try to put up their machines, verify voters on their list and all of that. So it's a rush hour right here in Bori.
So have you been able to test the mood of the electorate? I know that you are at a center, so they might not be all there, but on your way there, did you catch any discussions on what might possibly happen with the voters?
On our way here, we saw empty streets. So from this rap center, we are moving straight to the polling units to see what the people there have to say, I mean, the electorate. But for now, we are still at the police station where the materials are supposed to move from. Some people are still in their homes because while we were coming, we expected to see movement of persons, but we didn't see that. But after now, we are going back to the streets and, of course, the polling units to check what the people's concerns indeed.
All right, then. Now, we'll be coming back to you to ask more details because we're very concerned regarding that, whether the turnout is good or whether it's poor, based on the factors that led up to the elections. So we'll come back to you for more of that information, if you don't mind. Do keep on standby. We'll continue with our conversation here in the studio with Mr. Kabir. Mr. Kabir, you're still with us now. Let's talk about what the results might prove, whether the people of Rivers State are showing a sense of exhaustion with the processes that have happened from before now. How would we be able to perhaps use that data and say, okay, this is what the people feel like, this is what they're trying to say?
Yeah.
Do you think a strong turnout will tell that they are eager to get this over and done with? Do you think a low turnout would say, we really don't care anymore?
It is of two types. When you talk about turnout, you know, imagined turnout or assumed turnout or actual turnout.
Yes.
You know, I foresee voters' apathy, and as you can see, I don't see there. You know, the voting units ought to be crowded by now. You understand? So I foresee voters' apathy because the governor also, whether you like it or not, still have his people, you know, on ground who feel, who are feeling or who have felt that we have been shortchanged one way or the other. So there will be voters' apathy. One, people they'll be scared. People will be scared for their lives. Or you know, they'll be afraid of security. Whether the security will be guaranteed or not, they will be scared. That factor is there. Again, what we will expect, what I can use to assess whether the election is free and fair. One, if I can see that, the various political parties share the positions. Some win some, lose some, win some area, lose some area. Not a situation whereby Party A will win the chairman of the local government, of all the local government in Rivers State and all the wards, you know, put together. Where one Party B, we win all the local government election in particular, in the particular in local government, and win all the wards together. This will put a kind of question mark. And again, when I say assume turnout, sometimes people don't turn out. There could be massive thumb printing just to get just announce the result. It might not be real thumb printing by the people. This also can happen. It's a possibility.
So if the people know any better, they would actually turn out so that they can safeguard their votes.
Yeah, they can safeguard that, but the people apathy is there. You know, even in Nigeria, where we have about 200 million, citizens, I think the highest votes we have ever had in Nigeria is about 22 million naira. 22 million people voting. Right. You understand? But to some other inanities online, when they are voting for some contest and all that, even when you are voting with money, like 13 naira, 14 naira, 15 naira per vote, people vote like 5. You get like 3 billion votes. So this attitude of I don't care, and later we keep on complaining that we don't like the person that is voted as chairman or governor. We will regret later we have ourselves to blame.
Mr. Kabir, do you think that the public will trust the credibility of RSEC in this election?
I want to tell you, I personally, speaking for myself, not for News Central, I will not trust the outcome of the election because of the way it started. You know, make your path to be clean. If anything happens, people will vouch for you.
Right.
But when the process itself is not transparent, what do you produce? You understand? You can only get a good result from a solid foundation. You cannot get a wobble foundation and put an edifice that is beautiful. However, strong the edifice, it will crumble because the foundation is wobbled. So this is what I am seeing here. They have, he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. The hands of the RSEC or whoever, or the government, federal government, because federal government is one ruling in Rivers now, because they are the one that appointed the governor, and the governor is answerable to House of Reps. If they want to make law for River now, it goes to House of Reps. So with this, I don't think that the process is transparent, and having not been transparent enough, the outcome may not be so
Mr. Kabir,
favorable.
you just mentioned something very interesting here, and it only just occurred to me that if the state of emergency is instituted by the federal government,
Yes.
then doesn't that put any election that should happen currently under the purview of INEC, not RCEC?
Do you understand? Because, like you see, that is just the questions that has to be, because as it is, the state parastatal, you can see, no House of Assembly, no commissioner, it's only the administrator. The functions of state that should work are majorly the traditional institute, like maybe Ministry of Information, Ministry of War, Ministry of Agri, to keep government working. I think the RCA thing should not have been. I don't think they should have conducted the election because it's a state agency. It was created by the state. It will have been, because if the House of Assembly had been suspended, House of Assembly made law to establish RCA.
But then,
but now, if they want to validate anything in River today, if they want to present budget, they will go to House of Reps. So why is it not the INEC that will be conducting it?
So the implications are even further than that. So if it was INEC that was in charge of these elections, doesn't that, it would, what were you
if they give the normal notice.
Did they give the normal
notice? If INEC conduct it and normal notice is not given, the election will be invalid.
But don't you think that that would be considered as interference by the presidency, or by the presidency, but it would be interpreted so by the electorate?
What will I ask? What will I say if the appointment of the governor, of the administrator, is not interference? That one is less, less weighty. You understand? It's less weighty than the appointment of a governor that they don't know. The people of Rivers don't know him and all that. And do you know, sometimes it's even fair now because the man seems to be from that side. Sometimes somebody from Ogun State was brought to Ekiti State to be the administrator of Ekiti State, Oluni. There was a leave from George the other Tabi to come and head another state.
Right.
So, but this time around, it's even from that South region. But I don't think it's fair at all for government to allow an administrator to conduct this election. It springs a lot of questions.
Wow. The implications are only just occurring to me now as we speak about this.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if this is something that is also being noted by the electorate, and whether this is going to sway their votes this way or that. But at the end of the day, what are you, not that you're announcing results, what are you expecting to see when it comes to the general mood for these elections in Rivers State? Let's note the implications from everything that has happened from before, all the factors that led us up until here.
Yeah. Yes.
Even when if the governor eventually, first of all, if the governor eventually comes in again, in September, I can tell you, a lot of lawsuits might be coming up. Some people might be challenging the election from the beginning to the end, to say it is illegal, it's unconstitutional. But another problem that we may have is that pre-election complaint ought to be done within 14 days after nomination.
Yes.
I don't know whether that time might not have passed. So with this one also, they might just get rid of that. They may escape that wahala. Do you understand?
Yes.
Because under the law, if you say somebody has forged certificate, the situation that happened in those days, like when this guy, when the governor-elect of Bayelsa was removed, is not the situation now, because the law has changed. That if you have a complaint against the competence of somebody about the candidature of somebody, you must complain within 14 days after the nomination.
Yeah.
And it has become, it's more than 14 days now. And again, if you file an election petition against the local government election, the problem we have is that it stops at the High Court. Court of Appeal has no jurisdiction as an appellate court. Once you finish from your election tribunal for local government, you appeal to High Court, and that's it.
Mr. Kabir, we'll come back to you. And now let's move back to our correspondent in River State, Austin. Austin, can you tell us your location and tell us what the security is like there and the mood of the people there?
All right, good morning. We are currently at Ahoada West local government area of Rivers State, and behind me you can see the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, Akima, Ahoada West, and earlier on, this particular place was besieged with RISEC ad hoc staff trying to search for their names on the papers they posted on the wall. A lot of them have left this place, and obviously some of them, we are not quite happy with how things turned out after their training. But meanwhile, we have some of the respondents here to talk to us how they are feeling about this process so far. We have Samia Agbazubo. Samia Agbazubo, how are you doing? Okay, please take us to speed. Just take us through what you guys have been doing here since.
Yeah, my name is Bashabo Sam Solomon from Ahoada West, Ward 3. I'm the one of the trainee from the RISEC, but I called it to them. They said they sent my name to the RISEC from Ahoada West headquarters. Now I've come here to find my name. I did not see my name, and moreover, the place there is a witcherable. This thing, as the place there. I cannot step down, cannot come down and go and watch my name. I send somebody to go and look my name, and the person search everywhere. They don't see my name. So I'm not happy. I'm not happy because the way people are taking us, I don't understand. Because people should treat us well because we'll be special people. So the special people this time around want to just try to put our name now. Then my name is not easier. So whole Ahoada West is only me, was a disability person that to attend, to follow them, to work with them. But now.
We're having another issue here with our correspondent Austin in Ahoada, but he will be coming back to us, I'm sure, with more detail. But it's very interesting here that he's having a chat with that young man in the wheelchair.
Yes.
It brings the question of inclusivity.
Yes.
How prepared was RCA? How prepared is INEC ever for people with disabilities when it comes to the election?
You know, the law is there, but they don't use it. Do you understand? The people with disability, there is a provision for them, even under the Electoral Act, under the party constitution, they have there are provisions for them, but they don't enforce it because you have to create, their own a way of voting. You make it easier for them. You give some security of sorts should be for them, but it is not there. You don't even see a special status created for them. They are just there. Most of the time, they don't get to vote. Look at what the young man has, encountered. After suffering to come to the unit or ward, he didn't find his name.
Interesting.
It could be very painful.
I'm told that we have Biola back again with us. Biola is in Bori right now. Biola, welcome back again. Biola, we hope that your connection is better. What can you tell us happening in Bori right now?
Quarters and materials have started moving. Well, we have some of the agents, of course, those who are supposed to monitor it to see how it goes smoothly. I have one of them here, and I would like to have him speak with us. Okay, good morning once again. You have been here monitoring the movements of these sensitive materials to the polling units. What would you say of the process?
We'll try to fix the audio issue we're having here with Biola's connection. But presently she is in Ahoada West and she is bringing us visuals from there. I seem to see a lot of people. This is encouraging. I'm hoping that these are members of the electorate. But then she did mention that materials have begun to move. So we should be seeing processes start to go into action very, very soon. And we'll be able to ask her questions regarding the mood, the security, the officials and their conduct and all of that very soon. And maybe also having our correspondent Ni Balani, who's also in River State, bring us more details from his location. But we're going on a very short break now. We've got the news coming up at the top of the hour. Do stay tuned.
Welcome back, and these are the headlines at the hour. We begin with Rivers election, where residents in the 23 local government areas of the state are casting their votes in the council election holding across 6,866 polling units. The elections are coming 6 months and 2 days after the Supreme Court nullified the local government election conducted on October 5th, 2024 by the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission. The elections is being conducted in the 319 wards of the state, which houses major oil assets and is considered by many as the economic hub of the South-South region. The elections are also of interest to the major political actors, as the outcome could determine how the pendulum will swing in the 2027 governorship election. And in the meantime, the Independent National Electoral Commission has dismissed allegations by opposition parties questioning recent voter registration figures in the Southwest, especially in Osun State. Both the African Democratic Congress and the Labour Party had described the surge in pre-registration numbers as impossible, citing discrepancies with past electoral trends. INEC, however, said the figures are consistent with previous patterns, pointing to similar spikes during the 2021 registration period. The Commission stressed that all online registrants must complete biometric verification in person, ensuring transparency and accuracy. It also highlighted safeguards, including regular data publications, checks against double registration, and open access to historical records. Earlier, we had Vinces Otakpoku, a political analyst, join us on the news and shared his thoughts.
By way of laying a proper constitutional and statutory foundation with respect to the subject matter for discussion, Section 77 sub 2 of the 1999 Constitution copiously and laconically gives INEC power to register voters, and it provides that every citizen of Nigeria who has attained the age of 18 years shall be registered to vote in any election. Now, beyond this point, Section 9 of the Electoral Act, sub 1, gives INEC, it says, that INEC has the power to compile, update, and keep national register of voters with respect to which shall contain names and the particulars of persons who are qualified to vote in every election. That is for every sub-A, 9 sub-A, 1 sub-A, federal, state, and local government elections.
And still on electoral matters, the Kano state government has expressed worries over the low turnout of eligible voters in the just concluded online pre-registration exercise. This is as the Independent National Electoral Commission released statistics of voter turnout during the exercise, which saw Kano State ranked 18th position, a situation the state government says is worrisome considering the population of the state. The State Commissioner for Information, Ibrahim Waya, spoke to journalists in Kano during a voter sensitization campaign, raising concerns over the released ranking results. He says that the state government has decided to engage in a massive sensitization campaign in a bid to secure over 10 million registered voters by the end of the exercise in August 2026.
Released by the INEC, which really showed the number of the people or the number of Nigerians that are registered within the first 1 week, from 18 to 24th of this August, which really actually, so unfortunately, Kano was placed at the 18 in number among the hierarchy of the state that really with the highest number of registered voters, the free registration exercise that started last week. So it's quite really very unfortunate, particularly looking at the critical political stake of Kano. Kano is known to be politically strategic, and we're hoping that looking at our population, that Kano should actually be the one to be leading. So that is why we decided to launch a mass campaign, a mass installation to ensure that actually we assumed our rightful position as far as the potential voters is concerned in Kano.
Talking politics, former Zamfara Central Senator Kabir Marafa has officially resigned from the All Progressives Congress, accusing President Bola Tinubu of a use and dump leadership style. Marafa, who coordinated Tinubu's 2023 presidential campaign in Zamfara, said his departure follows extensive consultations with supporters across the state and frustration over worsening security, political neglect, and lack of development in Zamfara. Despite delivering victory for Tinubu in the state without his physical presence, Marafa and his political structure say Zamfara has been marginalized, receiving minimal federal appointments and aid while insecurity and kidnappings continue to rise without adequate government response. And talking education, the Polytechnic Workers Union has issued a stern warning to the federal government, demanding immediate payment of old promotion arrears, the 25/35% salary review arrears, wage awards, and full implementation of the new minimum wage. After patiently awaiting action, the council says it is deeply disappointed over the government's failure to honor agreements and prioritize education, despite numerous peaceful attempts to resolve these matters. The government's response has been described as mere lip service. And that's all for the headline this hour. And now we're going back to Rivers State local government elections and see what's happening there.
Welcome back. We're still monitoring the Rivers State LG elections for 2025. We are lining up our guests on a live view. They'll be joining us soon. We still have in the studio with us Mr. Kabir Akingbolu.
Yes.
He's joining us, giving us some very interesting legal aspects to the situation happening leading up to the LG elections 2025 in Rivers State. But very interestingly, while the cameras were not on us, Queen had a very interesting question, and I was like, that couldn't be. But Mr. Kabir had a different opinion. But what was the question you asked?
So I was just saying that, you know, based on the history, like you mentioned, you know, if the Supreme Court voided the October 2024 elections because of the 21 days notice, and now we had 32 days. What if, after the whole ruckus and then the whole election and the turnout, they now void this one? What now happens?
I thought it would be impossible, not after all.
Well, if you look at it very well, you know, what they call law, sometimes law is not, it's supposed to, that's what we call judicial precedent in law. There is no new thing except occasionally when the law has to change to fit into the trend of things. However, in the law that established RISEC, there is nowhere it is said. It was not envisaged that at a time a sole administrator will be conducting an election. So there is no provision there that says when a sole administrator is conducting an election of local government, the length of notice will be shortened. So if there is no such provision, where are we going to get this idea to say we have given a short notice and the election will be valid? I will be the most surprised person in Nigeria if at the end of the day the election is not nullified. I will be surprised.
Well, so again, I feel like, what if they come up with the reason saying, like you mentioned, that, oh, it's a state of emergency? No, we're talking as to saying that, you know, Rivers State is in state of emergency. So if you're in state of emergency, a lot of things can come up. It can be, you know, today there's a rule of something. Yeah, so they could find a reason. What do you think about that?
I have said it earlier. There is no, we are guided by law. We are not guided by whims and caprices, sentiments, or whatever anybody feels. No, it is the law, and the law it is. The law is what it is. In fact, it is said that in the interpretation, in canon of interpretation, that the court should interpret the law as it is, not as it ought to be. Do you understand? The court cannot say, oh, because it's a sole administrator, I think the length of notice. No, you can't come up with the ideas. The express provision is there that you give notice. What happens to this notice? I am surprised. Except, and of course, some people are somewhere, whether in the name of godfatherism or in the name of might or power, that are saying, go ahead, there is nothing that will happen, we'll take care of it, except that one. If it is not so, I don't see this election standing because of that issue of notice. I've seen a lot of people that have been ruled out of office, sent out of office, national elections. So how much more, how much less this kind of election? I don't think the election is well conducted. I don't think the RISEC was prepared. The federal government also was not prepared, because it's a collaboration of federal government now and the state government to conduct the election. Anything done by the state administrator reports to the federal government. The House of Reps, they have to supervise and so many other things. There is no House of Assembly to correct him. He can do and undo. Do you understand? So as it is, that notice is too short. It has fallen short of statutory requirement. And the end result might be very, very fatal.
While you're talking about control, INEC has said that it's distanced itself from these elections, saying that it's not under our purview, it's under the purview of the State Electoral Commission. However, under what rule, under what regulation, to what extent can RCEC be held accountable for the conduct of this election? Who's going to be that body that would say, okay, this is unconstitutional, this is invalid, where INEC has distanced itself?
Now, the only person I would say is unconstitutional are the opposing parties, like those who have lost out, because at the end of the day, we are going to see where the pendulum is going to tilt. And where the pendulum tilts is where the power that be supports. That is how it's going to be, most likely. Because when you now see it, maybe if it's party A that has gone, the party B is going to seriously raise objection, and they are going to file a lot of cases, series of cases, do you understand, to question the legality of the election. But I have also raised the doubt the other time that there are some technical issues also in filing these actions. There are time limits, you know, for you to file some of these things. So you may file it, you may have a good case, but the case may not be justiciable, rather, because the court may lack jurisdiction. For instance, if you are supposed to expedite or to file your action, or, you know, to make your action come alive within 14 days, and you are doing it after the election, it becomes something that the court, even however good your case is, you may not carry the day.
Very interesting, these matters that are going on here inside of Rivers State. But now I want to bring in the big names. Let's talk about the Fubara-Wike factor. Let's talk about the matter of interference from the presidency. Let's talk about the fact that there is a state of emergency that has been put there by the president.
Very important.
How does this interfere, in quote? How does this affect the outcome of today's elections? And let's also manage this in the context of we're looking forward to 2027 election and how that will be managed as well.
Let me tell you, without any sentiment at all, the federal government is also interested in Rivers State. You know, Rivers State and Kano seem to be the determining factor in those days. In fact, Rivers, let me say.
Can you tell us why?
You understand? In the 2007 election, if we withdraw the votes of Rivers State, the person that came second might have become first. You understand? So, given that position, the federal government will not let the golden fish to go astray. So, there might be some guidance, you understand? And I want to think, from what the attacking, you know, even the alternatives of the federal government spokespeople and all that.
Do you think this is because they expect that the votes will be in their favor?
Yeah, no, this is what you do. You have to plan if you want to be 25 stories, you plan the grants ahead. Do you understand? The federal government is with Wike. Do you understand? All the things Wike had done, the federal government has never seen him wrong in any way. Despite the fact that majority of Nigerians believe that no, the interference with the governance in Rivers by Wike or from Wike is too much. The federal government has not seen it that way. The only thing the federal government did, they tried to play the ostrich by calling them. He played the ostrich and called them and said, oh, we want to settle this thing. The first time he did, it failed. The second, the third time also. And now, from the look of things, they are trying to do a kind of what they call a simulated piece of the graveyard. Oh, there is peace, we have settled Wike and Fubara, everything has returned to. Meanwhile, it is not so. Even if you see further discussion from Wike today, we say everything is fine, tomorrow we say it's not fine. And when you look at it, Wike's people, if I want to speak, it's possible that Wike will support APC for the purpose of getting a soft landing for APC in 2027 election. Is very possible. Even the candidature that have been put in place that the loyalists of Wike, do you understand? So whichever party, even if they are in PDP, they will be PDP.
Now, thank you for APC going in that direction, Mr. Kabir.
Do you understand?
Thank you for going in that direction, that he would campaign for.
Yes,
give a soft landing for APC.
Yes. Exactly.
Regardless of the fact that he's actually not under that party. Now, based on that and the outcome of these elections, do we see a Fubara support for the APC, considering the fact that there was a reconciliation that nobody really truly understands what the terms are? So people at that time suspected that there would be a move even by the governor, that's similar like Fubara now, maybe to recondition him for the APC. These are speculation. These are speculation. These are arguments that are being had out there. What are the implications here?
You know, let me tell you that there is a kind of stylistic or subtle coercion. You understand? But it will not, as a politician, it will not be able to say it out. I can tell you, If he has not agreed to play the ball according to the rules, I don't think he's coming back to that government house. That is the truth of the matter. And if he's coming back, he's not going, even from the look of things, he may not get the second term. And for the fear of not losing the second term, he may be forced to reckon with Wike and play the game according to the rules given to him. You understand? Not according to his wishes, not according to the wishes of his people that elected him, but according to what the dictation was or is. You understand? Or is likely to be. This is just it. And now, the candidates that have been selected, they are mostly candidates that are loyal to Wike. That is the truth of matter. And with this one, when you say loyal to Wike, it's loyal to APC. Because Wike is in PDP, unfortunately. They have become a kind of a strong man that they couldn't say go. And he's been there, he's not really helping them, but they are afraid that if they send him away, it will be more disastrous. So let us keep the enemy that we have known, to be with us. One leg in, one leg out. So the same thing is going to be for anybody, all the people that are going to be elected today. Majorly, they are going to be, AP, Pro-DP, Abiadu, who put it. They are going to be one leg in, one leg out. Bearing PDP by name, but by doing APC. That is what it's going to be. From the look of things, speaking for myself. Anyway. Right.
Wow, interesting take there.
So right now we're going to be joined by Mr. Ogoni, who's a politician and owner and publisher of Port Harcourt Telegram. Mr. Ogoni, thank you for joining us this morning. Can you just give us your view of today's, River State local government elections? What's your take on it?
Quite a lot of people probably will be staying back home. There is this feeling, right or wrong, that perhaps there's nothing at stake. I'm sure you're quite aware of the book that Professor Dinkano wrote, talking about this electorate and the electorate. And quite a lot of people here probably feel that this electorate has done its job. And so what we are waiting for from the field is the outcome of those results to come. It's election day in Rivers today, and being restrictions, in terms of movement, and perhaps we are seeing images now of ad hoc staff moving to the field, and everything possibly will take a kick start. But frankly, quite a lot of people here in Rivers, the pictures of River State, are looking in the direction of the end of emergency rule. Not many people are interested in the local government election, whatever it is, whatever the outcome will be, because it can be predicted. But what people are waiting for is the return of self-rule in River State, the return of democracy. And that to us matters more than today's election.
Mr. Ogoni, may I ask, what do you think the level of confidence the people have in RCEC? Let's consider everything that's happened regarding the process that led us here to another election, a second election after one had been nullified. Do you think that they have confidence in RCEC? Do you think that they believe that the processes are transparent?
I think that there have been more infractions, so to speak, if you are looking at what happened in the last local government election that was conducted by the former administration and what's going on right now. There have been more infractions in terms of responding responsibly to INEC's warning. For instance, INEC says it will be difficult to achieve all of these results that RISEC is pursuing at this time in 21 days. I think that was a cautious warning by the Independent Electoral Commission at the national level, warning that is also not good enough. If you remember, there were supposed to be by-elections in Rivers State. There's one basic reason INEC did not come here. The reason, the emplacement of emergency rule. So this is the point. Now, well, head of tail is the taxpayers' money that will be wasted if, for any reason, after this election, judicial matters lead to its abrogation. Now, but going forward, a confidence level, even in the ability of INEC to deliver, have been trailed by controversies. Okay, first of all, not many people agree that the chairman of RISEC should be somebody who is not from Rivers. And it's envisaged here that the law establishing independent electoral commissions at the state level did not imagine that perhaps people will be borrowed from elsewhere to do this task. Okay, and there have been arguments too that since the period of Ebasi's rule, who's supposed to leave us, maybe all things being equal, by the 17th of September, that perhaps it would have been nice to allow the restoration of democratic institutions in Rivers State and accordingly put this election within a democratic framework. Now, what we have here is that an unelected person with no stake is running an electoral process in a state as sensitive as Rivers. And I want to agree with your man in the studio that Rivers is critical. And frankly, it may prove to be a major swing state in 2027. So this is the point. But give and take, like I said, quite a lot of Rivers people are looking forward to the restoration of democracy, whatever that means.
Okay.
And we are looking not at this, what do you call it, local government election, because quite frankly, we have a history here of results written, of candidates selected, and of course, no opposition when such positions are taken. So, honestly speaking, it may not even be a clear representation of who controls the grassroots of Rivers State. Yes, there are attempts to give the boys job to do.
So in that case, from what you just said now, in that case, from what you just said about the representation, do you empathize with RCEC for the position that has been put, where it has no backing from the national body, that's INEC, but yet has been forced to conduct these elections because of the vacuum that it finds inside of the state? What's your take on that?
I think that for those who, it's like a man sitting an examination and an electoral is telling you they're going to be one and gives you what looks like an escort, and then you ignore it. INEC has given the escort to RISEC. That is, it may not be wise to proceed with the elections. But the powers that be, we are told, as if we are running a student union government, that some aspects of the rules of engagement have been suspended, you know, and it's strange. And these issues that we are dealing with are constitutional issues. The processes leading to the making of law in a situation where there have been no amendments. And we are hearing whether it is true or false that the one who should be the custodian of the Constitution has, in respect of what is going on in Rivers State, decided to suspend aspects of a law. It's strange. It sounds strange. I have not heard that directly from the president, but I've heard the minister on the FCT say that some approvals have been given by Mr. President. So now it's not a question of law anymore. It's a question of what the president sees, what the president wants, and what the president intends to do. Now, and for us, we have no reason to engage, except to see that perhaps democracy is under threat, and not just in Rivers, but across Nigeria. Stuff like this shouldn't happen. We should run a country of laws. But what we have now, quite frightening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ogbonna, for joining us and sharing your thoughts on the Rivers State local government elections.
Thank you.
Now, we'll be coming back to you, sir, so do stay put. But for now, let's take a short break. When we come back, I'm going to be engaging both you and Mr. Kabir here in the studio regarding something I find very interesting from one of the points that you've just mentioned. Let's go on a break now. We'll be back.
And welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. And now we are joined in the studio by Mr. Chilaka Francis, who's a public affairs analyst. Mr. Francis, thank you for joining us this morning.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Glad to have you here. Very excited. Good to have you. I'm going to fire my very first question to you. I'm hoping that we still have Mr. Ogoni on with us online,
yes,
but he will also be joining this conversation. So, sir, good that you're here because I reserved this one for you. Let's look at all the flaws, all the invalidations that have been given to these elections here, from the processes that led up until it,
yeah,
to the disenfranchisement and all of that. So there are many questions that are being asked. However, would RCEC actually be strengthening democracy if they go on with such an election that has so much controversy behind it when it comes to the processes, the notice, the individuals in question, or the absence of an assembly?
You know, let me just start on the lighter mood. I was telling somebody yesterday, I said, Rivers State has an expatriate as a leader, which is the governor or the administrator. I mean, for me, it's an expatriate, whether we want to accept it or not. It's an illegality. To start with, you have somebody who is not from the state as the administrator, you know. And then you also have somebody who is also not from the state in charge of INEC. And then you keep asking, where are we headed to? I have always said to Nigerians, and I keep saying it, that you cannot curb corruption, you cannot curb insecurity, so long as, first, all the commissioners of police are from different states. You may say you're trying to unify the country and all of that, but it doesn't work. You need to have somebody who understands the terrain, the language, the tradition, and the culture of the people running the affairs. So for me, whatever you have playing out in Rivers State today is not an election, it's more like a selection. Yesterday, I was reading a report where the APC chairman said 50 of other party candidates came to their APC office and withdrew from the race. And they said, we are supporting whoever APC puts forward. And then I begin to ask myself, where is the Wike factor in all of this? Because Wike said his grouse with PDP, which is his own party, is the fact that in 2023, they refused to zone presidency to the south. Now, PDP has done it, and you're going into an election, supposedly an election. So what is Wike's role? Where is Wike? And if you are saying, oh, PDP is open to the likes of Peter Obi, Jonathan, they should come back to the party. This is more like an acid test to know where the party really stands. But as far as I'm concerned, what you have playing out in Rivers today is not an election, it is a selection, it is the normal APC style of grab it, snatch it, and run.
Do you think the electorate are feeling that pulse? Or are they just running with, let's get this over and done with?
I think there's serious voters' apathy. We can't run away from that. And I know that the person who would have given that election credibility seemed to have disappeared into thin air, which is Fubara, after all the various agreements and non-agreements. So as it is now, Rivers people are on their own. Whatever comes out of the election, I mean, I don't understand how a governor, if you check the trajectory of elections in Nigeria, especially local government, how a sitting governor who is on suspension would go into an election. He doesn't have a candidate. I've not seen him come out to campaign for anybody as a candidate. And then I'm asking, if he comes back as a governor, how is he going to govern the state? So for me,
I just think that, Rivers people are just tired. They started a war with somebody who they thought was a general, but at the end of the day, he's not even a sergeant.
So, Mr. Chilaka, would you say that this is less of grassroots democracy and is more about Fubara and Wike?
What you have in Rivers has nothing to do with grassroots. Honestly speaking.
I'm sorry I chuckled there, but the way you put it.
It has nothing to do with grassroots. It's more of selection. It's more of who controls the state. And we know that all of the things happening in Rivers State is geared towards 2027. We can't throw that away. So there is nothing like, grassroots. Who is the grassroots? In Nigerian election, there is no respect for grassroots.
My apologies, sir. I'm being told that we have an urgent update from Austin Azu, who is in Rivers State.
Yes.
Austin, good morning again. Please tell us exactly where you are and go on with the update that you have for us. Austin?
All right, Zeno, we are currently at Ahoada West Local Government Area Secretariat, and you can see the place is quite empty now, but on before now we have a lot of persons who came here to get one or two things for them to move from here. But most striking information here is that we have this large queue of vehicles here, and they are supposed to take the non-sensitive materials from this place to the various wards and pulley units for the ongoing exercise. Obviously, they are still stuck here, and we hope to unpack why most of them are still here. So we have a human rights activist here. Okay, we have Kakuro DK Justin. Gostin, please come forward. Okay, Gostin, please bring us to speed. Why do we have this long queue of vehicles here, and how long have they been here? What time are they supposed to leave this place?
Okay, any moment from now, we'll be taking our sensitive material, which they are distributing. And the parties are already on ground. Everything is going smoothly. The election is going to hold me in less than 1 hour. These cars that are packed are the ones that convene the members of the interested parties to the council headquarters, to different units and wards, where everything is on smooth ground.
All right, we learned that this exercise is supposed to begin at 8 in the morning, and this particular local government is very quite peculiar with the surrounding riverine area. So how then do you intend to move these sensitive materials to the riverine community and to ensure they are able to vote on time? And of course, we are told that voting is supposed to end at designated time.
As you can see, they are sorting out the sensitive material. These vehicles are the ones that convey people from different wards. So they are already sorting it out. We have 12 wards here, so it's not going to be 1 minute something. They're going to sort it out from one ward to the other. So that is why you are seeing people waiting patiently, but they have started giving other ones. Other local government, about 3 wards have collected already. So as you can see, the process is ongoing and everything is going very smooth.
Okay, let me not bother you. Okay, we have some of the drivers here to talk to us how patiently they have been waiting. We have Samson Jacob. Okay, Samson, how are you doing?
Fine.
Okay, take us through. How long have you been here and how long have you been waiting?
Okay, I don't stay here 1 hour 30 minutes time. So they wait for the people who could come carry the distance. So my position here now to carry the people, those people where they work with through annex to carry them go our unit. Like me, I be unit 6.
Okay. What time they give you to make you take on carry them before? Which time you arrive here?
They seen around 9:30, but I came here around 8 o'clock just to meet up. But till now, I wait for them. They never do finish.
Okay. Thank you. All right, Zeno, you have heard from those who are on ground here, so it's obvious that they are likely going to wait some time more than this because we still have the long queues over there, and it's expected that they will be attending to them gradually. You can see these people coming out already. It means that some event has taken place inside the Secretariat complex there. So back to you in the studio, Zeno.
Thank you very much there, Austin Azu.
And I think we also have our correspondent, Biola Festus, to give us update from Ogoni. Biola, can you give us updates on what's happening right now?
We are at a polling unit in of River State. Now, this is unit 20, Ward 9. Now, we arrived there earlier before the materials and, of course, before the polling officers arrived. While we were here, we saw electorate speaking in. If you could look behind me, they are still having their setup done. Well, we have someone who arrived earlier, an electorate. Let's hear from her. Let's ask her her expectations. She told us earlier that she would like to talk about. Okay, madam, could you come please? Thank you for waiting with us. Now you have come to vote and it's your time to settle. What's your view of the process so far?
Our process so far is that they just brought the material and they are arranging the material for us to vote. I'm here to vote.
All right, I see you got your voter card here. That is there to vote in Ward 20. Therefore, Ward 20, Ward 9. All right, thank you so much. 20. Thank you so much. She's got our voter's card readily available to cast a vote any moment from now, while the polling officers are still setting up. Okay, the polling officer, you did say you were going to speak with me earlier. How is it going? How is it happening? Let us know, bring us to speed. Any tips?
Okay, I've got my habit. There's no problem. We are on ground. As I speak with you, as you can see, we are setting, and the voters are already here. We are here for it, and we are going to, as supposed to be.
Okay, we understand that voting was supposed to have commenced at 8 a.m., but this is almost 10 a.m. What happened? Why the delay? Why are you just setting up?
As you can see, it is when we are receiving the material. That is when we are receiving, as you can see, we just received the material and already preparing for the movement.
All right, you said when you received the material, that's when, of course, you come here to set up. So whose fault was it? On whose side was the fault coming from that materials arrived late here?
Okay, I think it should be a vehicle problem. The motor was a bit delayed this morning due to late arriving. So that was also a problem.
All right, thank you for speaking with us. So, Mazino, we are in Ghana. This is a remote community. If you look around, you have few houses, some houses are mud houses. This is Bori community. Well, thankfully, the materials have arrived. From here, we would be moving to the inner parts of the Ogoni communities, and of course, to the riverine areas to see what's happening there. Mazino?
Thank you very much, Biola Festus there. Still in the studio with us is Francis Chilaka, and of course, we still have Mr. Kabir Akingbolu, and we also have joining us right now, that is Obinna Ebogidi. He is convener, Rivers Peace Initiative. Mr. Ebogidi, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Let me fire your question to you already. Now, the conditions, very controversial conditions leading up to this election. If you were to be asked that this be a sample of what 2027 elections would be, how would you describe it?
Again, I didn't hear you clearly.
I just asked you to make a comparison between the processes leading up to this election for Rivers State local government elections. If these processes were to be used or viewed as what's leading up to the 2027 election, how would you describe the 2027 election if we were to use this as an example?
I would want to answer your question on two grounds. Now, if you are asking about the challenges and the landmines that was put ahead of RISEC, whether this election ought to have even held in the first place, then I would say that with what happened on Thursday, after the court itself gave clearance for the election to progress, then we're actually on the right path. But it's about the processes. By processes, that's about RISEC being able to attend to the timelines as enshrined in the revised timetable that it's really.
Bogidi's connection seems to be frozen there. We hope that we can come back to him and bring more. Well, we've got more questions for you, so we're going to try and reconnect there. Mr. Kabir, let's come to you now. I think I had a question that had to do with something. I can't remember what it was, but it had to do with something that Mr. Ogoni from earlier had asked us. But I'll try and remember and come back to that one. But now, Mr. Chilaka, if we bring in the personalities that are actually behind all of these controversies, the very important bit here is, where is, I want to say where is Waldo, or where is Fubara in all of this, both physically, politically especially, because we are not privy to what might have been the terms of reconciliation from that meeting he had with the federal, with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. What implications could that agreement have on his position currently? Very interesting question, isn't it?
Well, I have decided long time ago not to talk about Fubara, because Fubara, to me, just suddenly, gave in. He caved in like, he wasn't prepared for a war. When you're going for a war, you need to examine your arsenals. You need to examine your generals. You need to take everybody into consideration. But, when Fubara decided to start, jumping around and holding meetings, he didn't carry those people who had put their lives on the line with him. And for me, that is not somebody anybody should stand with as a leader. So what is playing out in Rivers? Let's just look at what played out in Lagos. It will help you understand what is playing out in Lagos. When the speaker, Obasa, apparently was impeached, and I think he was in US, and he said, I'm still the speaker. He came back and had a press conference, and the thing dragged until they got to the president, and the president said no. He overruled that impeachment. And doing that, to me, was a stain on democracy. Because if you have 37 members who are saying, we don't want this man as our leader, and you as a single person is saying he must continue. So in other words, the decision was, go and continue your speakership and leave the structure. And that is what's happening in Rivers. Whatever agreement he had entered into, the agreement is, go and complete your term as a governor, but do not bother yourself with the structure. So how can you be a governor without a structure? It's like you're just there for, you're just there, you have nothing to offer the people. And if you've seen videos that have been trending where he keeps walking behind Wike as if he's just one of his houseboys.
So which is why I'm asking exactly, where would you put him politically now?
He's dead. Politically, he is dead.
Wow.
Let's call it spade. Politically, Fubara has no standing in Rivers. And what is the guarantee that even if he returns, he will not be impeached? What is the guarantee? You know that Wike is a man who wants power. He likes power. He's going for power at all costs. So I do not see a Wike, I don't even see a Fubara coming back and making any noise. So if he comes back as a governor, he'll just be there as a figurehead. Because that's what he has done now, because you have a local government election, you do not have a candidate. You cannot say, I am controlling 5, 6 local governments. So how do you want to lead the people? Nobody will listen to him. In the House of Assembly, he has no standing. So I mean, from what we heard, we're not too sure, we heard that even those who work with him will be appointed by a Wike. So you just have, if I'm in the shoes of Fubara, I would not go back.
Mr. Kabir keeps gesturing here, either in agreement or, satisfaction more like.
It's an agreement, because you see, they don't tell the deaf when the market is over. If you cannot, even at the deaf, even if you cannot, when you are not seeing, the blind rather, that the market is, if you cannot see, when you are not hearing noise, you know that there's nothing again. My father used to make one proverb that I don't understand Igbo language, but when two Igbo are fighting, I understand. These things, we just look at the surface. It's deeper than this. You understand? Sometimes a man will go to war. He will win the war, but he will lose the battle. You understand? But in this case now, he seems to have he has lost the war. He has lost the battle as well.
Has even lost himself.
Yes, you understand? They reduce him to a kind of whipping, suckling. Like a baby. He has no say. But unfortunately, he said something, but what I thought he wanted to say was not what he said, but it's looking like that. You know, in clear terms, I would have resigned if I were in his shoes. But I've said it in another form that Nigeria is not a place where people, especially Africa. That's why you see somebody will be 90 years old, he will still say, I want to continue, even when he's falling, when he cannot walk, when he cannot talk, until the breath is seized. Now, looking at this whole thing, what happens if you are just a figurehead? By the time you have the structure to an extent, you were not in charge. You were not given opportunity to rule. Now that you are coming back under a kind of a tempo, a pre-planned tempo, or a template rather, how are you going to function? If you are just there to collect salary, to do one or two things, if you make too much noise, they send...
Mr. Kabir, Mr. Chilaka, you both make it sound like such an embarrassing position to be in.
No, honestly, it is. I mean, let's look at it. You work here, for instance, and let's assume you're the general manager.
Amen. Right.
And then suddenly you find out that the board of directors, instead of giving instructions directly to you to filter that, they give it to the cleaner to give to you. Yeah. What would you do?
That would be embarrassing. It would be embarrassing. Quite. We have our guest back with us, Mr. Ogbonna Nwike. And also we still have Obina, who is still, that's Obina Ebogiri. We had bad connection with him from earlier, but we're going to try and reconnect. But Mr. Ogbonna, we noted that you had an inclusion you wanted to make. What was that, Mr. Ogbonna?
Something frightening, something very undemocratic is taking place, not just in Rivers, but in Nigeria. Unfortunately, maybe Rivers appears to be a test case. Okay, we've been talking about a power grab mentality, which apparently is trailing the Tinubu administration. And also the fact that someone seems to have been unleashed on Rivers people, whether or not he's right. The former governor who could not have tolerated any interferences in his time is interfering in the running of affairs in Rivers State, and everybody seems to have gone to sleep. You know, I've just been listening. People who are speaking in the studio, of course, they are entitled to opinion and they are rating of Fubara's reactions. I probably not question them. But also seem to think that how can we be in a country like this, where people know that something is wrong? We take Section 305. There is no way in Section 305 that the suspension of a governor was anticipated. Now, we have a president who did just that. We have a National Assembly that went to a voice vote instead of a two-third majority. And everything is normal. And it's even convenient to say, Fubara has lost his troops and lost his army. No. But what has happened to the Nigerian spirit? And that's the point. Where we are now, Rivers people probably deserve some support. We have a situation where, of course, I'm glad somebody referred to him as an expatriate. I mean, neighbors. How can it be that we are now singing the long song in a very strange land? And that the people who are capable of running our state and running our affairs are, of course, people who are lucky enough to have their own governors in place. It's strange. But like I said, I believe strongly there's still something a governor can do when it comes to power or when he returns to his seat. We are not even talking about conflicts now. I think the Rivers people are also tired of. We are shocked. We're tired of conflicts because we are the ultimate losers. In the last 6 months, contractors have pulled out of sight. Work is no longer going. Governance has crumbled. Not even is Rivers capable of fulfilling sanitation functions in a state like Rivers. Everywhere is dirty. And people are just running around. A man is to be preparing his handover note. These are awarding contracts. And bringing groups, faceless groups, to say things that are complete anathema. It's strange. So for me, what I think, and I said very clearly, that something strange is happening to Nigeria's democracy, and we should better wake up. It's just not a reverse problem. Okay? We saw something like this. It was about to happen in Yenigua. The same people putting pressure on the Bayelsa government. And it's happening. It's happening. How is the South capitulating? That's it. Pressure, seen and unseen. And we are laughing. Yeah, we are like monkeys now. When you are felling trees in the daytime, monkeys, they say, laugh.
All right, Mr. Nwoke, thank you very much, Mr. Nwoke. We have one question for Obina, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Obina, I would like to ask that what do you think the peace will be like in Rivers State, and what do you think the hopes will be for the people after this election? We know that we have a long history of, violent flare-ups around elections in Rivers State. What do you think this election will be?
Okay, from what the process I'm feeling around the Port Harcourt and its environs this morning, it seems like as our former reps member just mentioned, Rivers people are actually tired with the cycle of conflicts that has trapped us in one position for close to going to about 2 years now. That's denied us of many benefits and dividends of democracy. So there appears to be a widespread understanding by Rivers to allow the peace that's come with the reconciliation that has happened between Governor Fubara and the FCT minister. So I see that first, the figures we are seeing today have shown that today's election is going to be voted. And then going forward, I also see a situation where the governor's return is going to cement a lot of what is happening today. Because a lot has happened in the last, since November 2023. I've heard some of the arguments even by some of the guests here in this studio. But what is paramount here is that the state needs to move forward. We know that the conditions on which this election is taking is the very saddening one. We're under a state of emergency petitioned by the actions and inactions of our political leaders who prioritize their interests and refuse to think about the implications of their actions on the larger society, and the people are part to suffer. So for this election is moving today because the state needs to move forward away from some of these shenanigans that we have just planned, and as yes, the average people, like the average persons, or especially those at the grassroots of the people basic evidence of democracy. So that's why this election is moving today. And like I mentioned, there appears to be an unspoken agreement by the people themselves, that we need to move away from some of these things that held us back and begin to talk again about issues that border on development, issues that border on security, issues that actually mean and resonate on the welfare of those at the grassroots. And that's why this election is very...
All right, then, Obina, we have to go on a short break. We'll be back. We're asking that you stay with us, along with Mr. Ogoni. Of course, we still have Mr. Chilaka, Francis Chilaka in the studio here, and Mr. Kabir Akingbolu. We'll be back after this break. To stay with us as we continue to monitor the Rivers LG elections for 2025. Welcome back. It's still Breakfast Extra, but only this time we are monitoring, well, what's happening inside of Rivers State as the local government elections are happening right now. We have our correspondents who have been bringing us detailed information about the processes that are going on. And currently we can see that election materials are being moved from the locations to the different wards. we'll continue to monitor this and bring you detail of what's happening in the state. We still have our guests here with us, and also online in the studio we have Francis Chilaka and of course Mr. Kabir Akingbolu. Online we have Mr. Wonanwoke and Obina Egobiri. They will also be joining in the conversation. But everybody, this is a very interesting bit here. Queen is already laughing because while the cameras, there's an interesting other show that goes on when the cameras are not on us. And I wish we could give you guys a little preview into what it's like, but maybe we will. Queen had only just talked, we're only talking about the absence, I think,
yes,
absence of the governor, Fubara. And then I'm not going to mention who, but somebody made the remark that he is a puppet currently, and that went into a very long, humorous but interesting conversation filled with facts. And gentlemen, Mr. Chilaka, please, you go first. What you said about him being a puppet in all of this process.
Fubara, okay, let me also, I'd like to take us down a little bit memory lane. Yeah. If you recall, the late President Muhammadu Buhari, may so rest in peace. Each time there's a crisis, the picture they will put out is the one where he's picking his teeth. Now this is where Fubara is right now. Fubara is just there, you know. He's bamboozled. He doesn't know what is going on. He's just like a man in CIN, ICU. He doesn't know, and it's unfortunate. We're in a country where we no longer have elder statesmen. We're in a country where, you know, everything goes, you know, things are just going the way they want to go, and nobody cares. So right now, Nigerians are on a survival mode. So imagine increasing passport from 50,000 to 100 to 200. Minimum wage 70,000. So it means that if I am earning 70,000 and I want to get an international passport, I must save for 1 year.
You must fast.
Because because that's where we are, and this is where the political terrain is.
So political terrain is not just the instances happening in Cross River State. We can see this happening in other. Are there other samples, for instance?
Everybody see Nigerians. Let me put it this way. I am really ashamed of the Nigerian youths. And why am I saying that? What you will now see is that after this election, you see various people will form up one group. Youth in support of local government chairman. Youth against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So you just see the Nigerian youths have become so beaten and so battered that they're not thinking out of the box. And unfortunately, when people come on air and say, oh, there is going to be peace in Rivers State, I ask one question. What manner of peace are we looking at? Any peace that is devoid of justice is peace of the graveyard.
Please, sir, may I come to Obina, who is also with us. Obina, we would like you to answer that question from Mr. Chilaka here regarding the kind of peace that might happen inside of River State that we all hope. Obina, what kind of peace would it be? Is it going to be void of all? No, I'm asking Obina now. I'm hoping that Obina is with us. Is Obina with us? Oh, we've lost Obina. My apologies there. But when you do come back, we would like to know exactly what characteristic this peace could take. Yes. Since you are, what's it now? I can't remember your designation, but I'll come back with that one. Yes. We still have Mr. Ogoni with us in any case.
And, okay, before we get back to Mr. Ogoni, we have our correspondent, Agbala Ni, in River State still. So, Ni, can you give us an update of what's happening as the voting started? What's the security like and what's the turnout?
Thank you. Well done, Queen. Well done, Mazino. Well, I'm at Ward 9, Unit 7, Room at Bricon, at Obiakpo local government, and this is the ex-governor of Rivers State and the current minister of the Federal Capital Territories polling unit, Minister Yesom Wike, and very soon we should be expecting him to come here. But let's refocus on what has been happening so far. According to information we got, the materials got in at about 9 a.m. this morning, and preparations are ongoing. As you can see, the electoral officers are doing the needful, stamping the back of each ballot paper, getting ready to give it out to the electorate. And on the right, there. Some are already seated. That should be the first man seated there that you can see in your view. The pillar is blocking a little bit of our vision. That will be the first man that will cast his vote at this particular polling unit. And just behind me here, it's obvious that this is a place where we're going to have the minister pass his vote, because media operatives are also here, and a lot of people are also hanging around waiting for him to come around here. Monitoring around Obiakpo local government since morning, we've been to a lot of places. Two things are common. One, delayed materials, and of course, secondly, very, very low voter turnout, and that's a major concern for this particular election in Rivers State.
Thank you, Nii, for that update. We will come back to you to get more updates while the elections is going on. So we have to come back to our guests, Mr. Kabir and Mr. Chilaka.
Mr. Kabir, you had something to say following Mr.
Yeah,
Chilaka's
yes, like what he said, that piece of the grave, he agreed with what we said. It's a simulated piece of the graveyard. Things are not fair, fine. You are just pretending that all is well. And you made one point earlier, a kind of justification or a kind of tacit approval of what they have done, that, oh, there's vacuum, with what they are saying, oh, there's vacuum, they don't want to create vacuum, blah, blah, and all that. If you are talking of vacuum, if the president could appoint a sole administrator to govern Rivers State, why can't they appoint a sole administrator to govern the local government? It's not unusual. They have been doing it, though it's not legal. However, even without administrator, they could use the DA, Director of Administration, to man the local government. Has been happening. Now, coming to what we are seeing, when you talk of Fubara here, Fubara there, I think the guy, I think he has thrown in the towel. He's not going to have his way with the way the whole thing is. He's inundated. Like I said earlier, all the, I don't want to say bad things, I'll be judgmental. All the things that Wike has been saying, all he has been doing, all his utterances, every action taken by him has never been condemned by the presidency anywhere. So it's as if you have a backing. It's just like somebody beat you outside and your mother or your dad say, go and slap your own back. Even if you don't have power, even if the person is as mighty as the mountain, your father is behind you. You will want to do that. That is exactly what is happening here. Wike here is, his interference with river governance is just too much. If you have supported this man, even God that created us, what does he take back from us? He still leaves us to exist. Why don't you allow this guy? Why don't you allow this guy to breathe? If you don't want to support him the second time, leave. You understand? But in this kind of situation, just like Prince has rightly observed, when you fight too much, you lose everything. They can even send all these corruption fighting agencies against you. After you, if you say, oh, you are not going to play this, so there are a lot of things against you. It's just like this takes me to the work of Niccolo Machiavelli. He said the prince who becomes a king through the help of the nobles will find it easier to maintain his position as a king than the prince who becomes a king through the help of other princes. That as a king, you will find himself surrounded by other people who believe that we are your superior or we are equal. This is what is happening. To go back to the basic, Fubara himself joined the civil service of Rivers State around 2002 or 2005. He spent barely 20 years before he became the Accountant General of the state. And it's unusual because the Accountant General is more or less like a permanent secretary, which you cannot get to except you have reached like 30, 33 years in service. But he rose through the ranks. So now, I think he's not getting it. You are not now, you want to change the rule of the game at the middle of the game. So sometimes this also takes us to the back of godfatherism. When you know you cannot play by the rules, don't allow yourself to be used. Let them have their structure. But if you want to get to power at all costs, you don't want to do their bidding. It has happened in Oyo State. It has happened in Edo State. It has happened in Rivers. It has happened so many places. In Anambra State. Even in Lagos State. When somebody said he was still using phone, he came out and said, I want to do World Conference. He called all the journalists of this world. He talked and talked and talked. The primary election that they will do, they did that time, there was 950,000 votes for the person who won. Meanwhile, in the general election, no, they have never got 950,000 votes in Lagos. But in the primaries, which is inter-party, they got 950,000 votes and they gave him, is it 100,000 votes?
We're asking where are the supporters?
You understand? Where are the supporters? Primary in Lagos, 950 something for go and check. So where are we going? Now, this is what is playing in Rivers State. They should allow this guy to just do his govern the people. The people have given him a mandate of 4 years, don't forget. They have taken away 6 months there. But let him enjoy the remaining 6. Now, he is going to sit in the state, dealing with strangers whom he doesn't know. The local government chairman, he doesn't know them. The councillors, he doesn't know them. Where is the interaction? Where is the connection with the people? What happens? Where two elephants fight, the grass suffer.
Interesting one there about the rise to power of the prince only by the people and not other princes.
Yes.
Interesting. I'm going to use that one next time. Obina is back, if I'm not mistaken. Obina, welcome back. I'm hoping that you were listening all while the discussion was going on with our studio guest here and Mr. Ogbonna. Mr. Ogbonna, I'm going to come back to you. But Obina, we were asking about the character of peace that might reign in River State after this election. What kind of peace would it be? Would it be one that is void of democratic processes, but let's just be peaceful anyway, or one that is actually strengthened by democracy? What do you think, since you're a peace advocate? Don't think we have his audio. He's frozen currently. Mr. Ogbonna, let me come to you then, and it's the same. Oh, we have him. Well, we don't have him anymore.
Well,
we'll come back again.
So I think I have a question for Mr. Chilaka. Let's leave Fubara and Wiki for just, you know,
oh, that's an interesting bit, though.
2 seconds, just for 2 seconds. You talked about you being disappointed, you know, the youth of this generation. And, you know, today is River State. Tomorrow it might be Abia, it might be any other state. And, you know, the situation here is Godfatherism. How do you think we can nurture the youth? Because, you know, everybody's seeing these things. You know, back then it's hard for people to even know what's happening because of social media. But now any little thing, X space on Instagram, this person said, everybody kind of know what's happening in real time. And I feel like there's this fear of, if I say something, nothing will change. If I go and vote, my vote won't count. So how do we nurture this, you know, the youth to actually stand up? Because if they don't stand up, then who's going to even know the history of Nigeria to be able to say, you know what, we're coming out to take our country and to be able to lead? Because what's happening is like we're recycling, you know, the same people over and over again.
All right, when I was growing up, I was told the youths are leaders of tomorrow. I'm still waiting for that tomorrow. And I've not seen it.
Jesus.
But all I've known so far is that it's easy to grab it, snatch it, and run. That has characterized the Nigerian political landscape. Now, the question you should be asking, which I'm also asking is, who are those used to snatch it and run? It is the youths. And I ask these same youths, when you do the biddings of these politicians, can you marry their children? Can you marry to their families? Can you become their in-laws? So these are questions the youth should be asking themselves. And until the day the Nigerian youths come to that consciousness of knowing that for every 1,000 naira a politician gives to you, he's going to take 20 million naira from you. When we say there's poverty in the land, yes. There's unemployment, yes. There's hunger in the land, yes. We've been hungry since 2015. At APC came. That hunger has not faded. But the same youths are on social media. What do they do on social media? Nothing. You put up a post on politics on social media, the youths will not touch it. But go and put a nude picture on social media, they jump at it. So it's like the youths have lost it. So everybody say, what do we need to do for the youths? First of all, the youths need to realize that they are the strength of this nation. And that they need to begin to think as if there is no box. I'll give you a short story. During the 2023 elections, some guys came to me and said, oh, we have this candidate. We want you to come and do some PR, you know. I said, oh, okay. What's the name of your candidate? They told me. I said, good. How much are you paying? He says he'll give you 1 million. I said, no. I said, first and foremost, let me tell you, I don't like your candidate. If your candidate will give me 50 million naira, I'll do it for him. And they left. They never came back. Because I have put myself where I know they will not climb to. And that's what I expect of Nigerian youths. So when we talk about this country, where are the youths? The youths are there. But everybody will say, hunger day for land. Like I collect 1,000. It doesn't solve your problem.
Right.
It does not solve your problem. And that is why I stand with Peter when he says, the process that brings you to power matters. It will determine your ability to give good governance or not.
Right.
So the youths must begin to stand up and say, look, okay, that 5,000, that cup of rice, that noodles you're bringing, I don't want it.
Accountability.
All I want is to be able to hold you accountable. And if you do not do that, how can you hold somebody that has given you money accountable? So that is where we are in this country. The politicians understand the power of poverty. And they're using it. And so the people too must begin to think out of poverty. And that's why I blame religious institutions, I blame traditional institutions. Because they are the problem. The parents are the third problem. But we need to address the issue of religious institutions and other institutions to be able to solve this problem. This idea of God go solve our problem, God go solve our problem, now lie.
And
God is not going to come down from heaven because God has given you wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to be able to do the right thing.
Mr. Chilaka, Mr. Akingbolu, we're going to take a short break now, but I have never enjoyed a conversation with so many apt analogies like I have with the both of you.
I agree.
Thank you very much, especially the one with the prince. I'm going to write that down on my wall. Let's take a short break. We'll be back. We're still monitoring the Rivers LG elections for 2025. It's still the monitoring of the Rivers LG elections. We've had to excuse Mr. Kabir Akingbolu, who's been with us since the 8 o'clock hour.
Yes.
This time we have joining Mr. Francis Chilaka here in the studio with us is Abdul Latif Ahmed. He is our lead digital research here at News Central and also news editor. You're welcome, Abdul Latif.
Yes.
Thank you. I can't wait for this.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you here. We always start by asking everybody what their overview of the elections happening right now are. So let's start by asking you that.
So, well, we had a lot of hope for this election because it is very crucial to the future of Rivers State.
Right.
Essentially because before now, there has been contention around the process, the outcomes, and then, of course, an election that held and the courts had adjourned it and annulled it so that this one was going to hold. But my own concern was the amount of participation in this election. So you have on the ballot mostly the ruling party and the PDP. But I know, for example, that Rivers State has a lot of presence of the labor movement, and it was saddening to realize that they were not going to be on the ballot. Having said that, I also understand that the process has been generally peaceful. Seeing Rivers as what it is, most of the time you will have heard about violence by now and all that. So security was beefed up, and from what I've seen so far, people have come out en masse to vote. So I hope the process will be smooth.
Now, regarding the different parties or the absence of individual parties, now I think the big question people have on their mind is whatever happened to the Labour Party in these processes? Because it seemed like you have noticed such a big force from before. Well, it's a new big force. I say that to say this in comparison to what's happening on the federal level when it comes to 2027, as we're looking forward to that, and the appearance of the ADC. Would this be another LP sort of situation where we see them the fury of that party for one election, and then after that it kind of dwindles? Let's first of all start by asking, where is the Labour Party in all of this and why they seem to be absolutely absent?
Sadly, I would say both the Labour Party and the ADC are absent in this election. I would have assumed that because of how strategic local government elections are,
exactly.
You will have seen the figureheads of these various parties mobilizing people ahead of the elections.
Against all odds.
Against all odds. I mean, because you cannot leave it to the two parties. I mean, because it means that we can predict with some level of certainty how the elections will go. Elections are better when you cannot tell what directions they will go. Let people go there and exercise their franchise and say this is who or how we want to vote. Having said that, again, it boils down to preparedness. If you see an election, some will say, oh, it's not too important. Every election is as important as the presidential election, because the government that is closest to the people is the local government. So you expect that people should participate, in who becomes what, in terms of governance around them.
Mm-hmm. So since you're the head of our digital space, so based on what you've seen online, what do you think, what are the responses of people concerning this election? What are they saying?
A lot of people are predicting a landslide for the ruling party, because what you have is a very funny scenario. If election is coming up, people would say that you would hear heated arguments for and against. But you have a scenario where members of the PDP jumped to the APC and got the tickets of the APC. So we have 23 local governments, 20 of them are APC, they are in APC from PDP. And then you have 3 members of the PDP. All the 23 are linked to the FCT minister. Now, you cannot hear the voices, except for I think Emeka, there's a faction in River State, the Emeka Beke, I think, led faction, as against the Okocha-led faction, who are, they raised concerns, and they even challenged the conduct of the election. They took it to the courts, but the court had ruled in favor of the elections holding. So, be that as it may, people will express their concerns online, but the real elections, the real, measure of what is happening on ground will be based on what the people on the streets are saying. Yeah.
You're right. So we'll come back to you. And right now we have our correspondent, Biola Festus. Biola, can you still give us an update of what's happening right now within this hour?
We've moved to another polling unit, and this time around, this is the polling unit of the member representing Kana Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives. Now, we gathered from some members of each supposed party that they are not on the ballot. Well, he is right here to cast his vote, and I am going to put that question to him right away. Honorable, thank you for joining us. So, if you could tell me, you are a member of a political party, and members of your party have said your party is not, do not field candidates for this local government election, but you are voting.
Sorry, I don't know who are the members of my party that said my party didn't field candidates for the local government elections in River State. The local government elections in River State are ongoing, and my party fielded candidates. They may not have fielded candidates or maybe all the candidates may not have been cleared, but that they didn't field candidates is not correct.
Okay, so are you trying to say your party, how can we know your party just for clarity purposes?
My party is the People's Democratic Party.
All right, so some members of the People's Democratic Party have said the People's Democratic Party did not field any candidate in Ghana. Is that true?
My party is not divided. And so I don't know who are those some members, but I'm here to vote for my choice. I'm going to vote for a chairman that will lead the people of Ghana to prosperity. That's why I'm here.
Just the last one from me. So are you also part of those party men or party faithful that are doing consensus candidate with APC and PDP? I mean, it looks like
in River State here, what we have in River State is very clear. The state is unified, and we have candidates across all the LGs, and I'm going to vote my choice candidate in a moment.
All right, the state is unified in politics as well. APC and PDP unified.
well, whatever you call it, but there's unity in Rivers State. You can see everywhere you go to Rivers State today, it's peaceful. Everywhere is peaceful, unlike before. We don't want bloodletting and all of that in Rivers State anymore. Everybody is working together to make sure that we rebuild Rivers State to the particular point where we have left it.
All right, thank you for staying with us. So there you have it. Is of the PDP representing Kana Gokana in the Federal House of Representatives. He said it, Rivers State is united, even in politics, APC, PDP, one Rivers people. Over to you.
Thank you, Biola, for that update. Indeed, the citizens are saying there's peace and unity.
And based on that, Mr. Chilaka, I could see the gentleman there is, well, nothing is undaunted. I'm going to vote, I'm going to vote. That's a representation, or could be seen as a representation of how the people are faring, what they're thinking, how they feel regarding the situation they find themselves currently. However, let's move from that into the bigger stage now when it comes to the national level. In fact, no, we're not moving. It's still the same thing. We're just going to intertwine these two issues here. When it comes to the state level and the local governments, it would seem that not many people, especially the youth, are tuned into what's happening on the local government level. Everybody seems to always think on the national level when it comes to the candidates for presidency. We're already thinking 2027 at this point and picking candidates for parties themselves. We're saying that this one should be presidential candidate, this should be vice president. What has to happen to shift that on its head, where you're not thinking about the presidency first, but instead the local government elections, that's the grassroots.
Yes.
What has to happen for the average Nigerian's orientation to shift? And where did we even lose it in the past?
Well, when people talk about local government, I laugh because we don't have one across the entire country. The local governments are not functional. If it's functional, people will be interested in it. It's not. President Bola Tinubu started by telling us, oh, I'm granting autonomy to local government. And the question I'm asking is, what autonomy did you really grant them? Is it administrative or is it financial? None. Because after this election, who controls the funds of the local government? People say, oh, it's local government chairman. No, it is still the governor. And that is why I would say that any election conducted by State Electoral Commission for local government should be cancelled. We should have a body, either INEC itself should be the one conducting it.
Because you think there's too much interference from the governor?
I mean, check the candidates. Before now, we heard that there was a meeting between Fubara and Wike. We also heard, which we're not sure, which has not been confirmed, that Fubara was asked to move his eyes off the local government chairman. And then I have a question I'm asking. You're going into election today. Before now, there was an election which was overturned, and you had all the candidates of APP. Where are they? So those ones are not worthy to contest. And then you see somebody who's from PDP telling you that we're working in unity. When you see men who are supposed to be elder statesmen talking like babies, you know that something is wrong.
Interesting.
The country is not moving forward. Right. What you have rather is these old men have decided to put their knees on the neck of Nigerians.
Mr. Chilaka, I forgot to introduce Abdul Latif to you the way we, regard him here. We call him Uber Geek because he's the super of the super geeks in our midst. So my next question is to you. I was almost in Uber Geek. Abdul Latif.
Yeah.
Do these stats, when it comes to the candidates that are being posed for the elections here today, show a certain leaning toward interference from either the governor or the presidency? Factual.
There will always be some amount of interference because the central problem to politics or governance in Nigeria comes from what I refer to as party funding. He who pays the piper dictates the tune. Therefore, if I put my money into electioneering or into governance, I would want to ask fundamental questions. Be you the godfather, the sponsor, the funder, or the man on the street, the artisans, the market women, you know, the everyday person who says, okay, you know what, this is the party I believe in. I'm going to fund this party. I'm going to be a member. In fact, I'm going to have monthly dues paid willingly. I'm going to, you know, do all of these things out of my own volition. If I do these things out of my volition, it is nearly impossible for an election to come and I wouldn't have a say in it. However, when I stay back, I don't participate, I'm not sure what is happening, I just watch from the sidelines, elections come, some names are, you know, mentioned, and then they go to the fields. The interference will come from those who fund them. So we must restructure how we fund parties in Nigeria in order to ensure that, you know, those who come up as leaders are a true reflection of the wishes and aspirations of the people.
Okay, interesting there. I'm being told that we have, am I correct? I'm not sure.
Yes, we have some thoughts from voters in Rivers State. So let's have a look.
What's the current situation here? What's delaying?
Yes, the material, some of the materials are yet to come from the drug center. So we are waiting. As soon as other materials come, then we start distributing to units.
Okay. So how many units are under this particular rack center here?
We have about 78 units.
78 units?
Yes.
Okay, and everybody now is waiting for this same material?
Yes. But some materials are here.
Okay.
Some are yet to come. Okay. You see, we have buses that have brought some materials.
Okay.
So some materials are on the way to come.
All right.
Just that they are sorting it out at the headquarters.
Okay.
The research headquarters where the materials are to come to the rack centers.
All right. In what capacity are you here, sir?
SPO.
SPO.
Supervising presiding officer.
Okay. Of this. Well, what's this word, please?
This is word 9.
Word 9.
Room Africa.
No material, no nothing.
I need to watch them.
Yes. Yes. This is word 11. We have not seen any material from RISEC. I don't know if RISEC are prepared for this election. Look at the area. People are ready to vote. What do you want us to do? We wait till they bring their materials. That is all. We don't have anything to say. Look at the place. People are there. Are there no human being here? Where's your material? No way. We are waiting for them to bring the material.
All right. Your name, sir?
My name is Ohazume Vincent.
Well, what capacity are you?
I'm the watch chairman of this Ward 11.
Then the reason why there is a delay in the election today is because the material are not arrived yet. And apart from that, the preparation of the election was not already being done before this early morning. It will be fine. Everything will go well, very well, because I believe there is peace in this area. In terms of election, there is no issue, there is no anything like fighting or misunderstanding in this very particular community in Biama.
Yeah, we are still waiting for them. Also, some persons are around like them, they are waiting to vote. So waiting for material to be prepared. They are also preparing setting the place.
Oh, but they said the materials are already around?
That's the presiding officer is around.
Okay.
The polling clerk is also here, so they are trying to set up the place.
Okay.
So we also have some persons around waiting to vote.
Okay. So what's your assessment so far of what has happened here, what has been happening here, when they started, when the materials got here, and what you've heard around your environment?
Everything is going peacefully. I can see some persons are also waiting, willing to vote. They are willing to be around with us. Everything is going well, and it's going peacefully.
I'm the one of the trainee from the RISEC. But I called it to them. They said they sent my name to the RISEC from Ahoada West headquarters. Now I've come here to find my name. I did not see my name, and moreover, the place there is a reachable. This in as the place there. I cannot step down, cannot come down and go and watch my name. I send somebody to go and look my name, and the person search everywhere. They don't see my name. So I'm not happy. I'm not happy because the way people are taking us, I don't understand. Because people should treat us well because we'll be special people. So the special people this time around want to just try to put our name now. Then my name.
I'm so happy that today is election day, and we are trying to come to the voting point. But normally some people are busy in their various houses preparing to vote, because everybody knows that today's election day, and no one is expected to move to anywhere like work except you go to the center to vote. And I'm very grateful that at least we value the day, we give respect to this day. I'm so happy. At least the place is well clean kept for everyone to come in with peace and of good heart. So nevertheless, I even appreciate people that are here. Thank you that people never come. I believe they are still arranging to come, even if they are not yet here. Maybe some they are on their way. Maybe there are some of them on their way coming. Like of me, I'm here. Yes, I'm here. That is what I can speak for their behalf. Yes, I believe they're on their way coming. Even if you do not see them now, I believe they're on their way coming. Not that they will not be here, or not that they will not vote.
This is Ward 9, and the polling unit is Unit 20.
Have elections, voting begun yet?
No, not yet. We are just receiving the materials, and as you can see, we're preparing.
Are you running late already?
No. I don't think so. We're just coming in.
Why didn't you go to vote today? Why you not go vote?
The material have not come down there. The town hall, the place are voting. The material have not come down. They go to the local government to go and collect materials.
Why you not go vote?
No food is easy after the election.
Okay, so now make you not go vote.
We no go any day where we no.
Welcome back. What you just watched were visuals of voters in different wards in
or
Rivers
not
State.
voters, because we saw the lady there saying after voting, where's the food?
At least there was one person who said he was happy.
One happy guy.
Yes,
one
it's
happy.
election day.
I don't know if that's a proper poll, but if you can take the polls from there, it gives you an idea of
He was excited.
I think it has to do with how we even conduct elections. So in most parts of the world, people conduct election and go about their businesses. Nothing is grounded, But here we have to ground the entire system because there's a lot of states.
It's trust issue.
Exactly, trust issue. And then maybe security.
You're right.
Not insecurity, it's trust issues.
Right.
Let's just, you see, this whole thing about security, most times it's even the security personnel that cause all the problem.
Right.
So if for instance, you're using people from, a local government, you're using the indigents of that place to conduct an election, trust me, nobody will go and fight them.
It's interesting that you should say that, because Queen had an observation from earlier regarding the manner of which these very sensitive election materials, what was it again?
Based on the visuals that we saw the
ballot boxes,
and then like ganamos goes in the buses. Even looking at buses, it looks like something that you could hijack or something. So, and then you see the other guy saying he has been waiting over an hour, 30 minutes. And, if you're doing all these things and you say you want us to trust you, then the materials that you're using for election should be handled with care. Absolutely. You're just throwing it behind the bus in a ganamos go, like literally, it's like you're chasing it out of your space, like just go.
So what does that have to say about security when it comes to the conduct of the elections by RCEC?
You see, when, I think it was the regime of IBB, when we had option A4, we didn't have this kind of shenanigans. Maybe, I think the problem we have in this country is we're not thinking out of the box. We're not growing as people. Because if we're growing as people, we should be, looking at the things we've done before and add value to them. But we're not. Everybody's talking about now, very soon you'll start hearing about the issue of beavers. Didn't work. And so, the other day I remember the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, trying to give us lecture on how to conduct a successful an election. And I said, this is the wrong person to do it.
Why so?
Why? When he was going to vote in the election, what happened to him and his wife? The beavers couldn't capture them. If he was smart, as a man who wanted to entrench good electioneering process, he would have cancelled that election.
But I don't think, the inability of the beavers to work is sufficient grounds. Because if an election is conducted, there has to be multiple ways to verify that these elections were conducted.
This is where we have a problem. And this is why we are calling for electoral reform. In one breath, you're saying beavers. In the other breath, you're saying the electoral officer has the right to use his discretion.
Yeah, but because...
It is... No, sir, I disagree with you.
Okay, go on.
If you want something to work, we must set a standard.
Right.
Agreed.
Knowing that human beings are difficult to rule and control. We're not animals.
But Beavers relies on the network, and your phones cannot work in every part of Nigeria. So I understand if the network is poor in some
between you and I, who has audited the accounts of INEC?
So it's
after the last election.
It's up to Nigerians.
Which Nigerians?
We have to be the ones who demand
the same Nigerians that are demanding for electoral reform. What is happening about it? How do you think that these senators, these honorable members you have today, who most of them came into power through rigging, how do you think they will reform a process that brought them to power?
Well, there's hardly any way around it, but I know that Nigerians, as long as you continue to demand for the right thing, so if somebody becomes your leader and you are not comfortable with that, you must find a way around getting someone in who you are comfortable with. But the problem will be that one person out of the majority is hardly able to do anything. So it has to be a collective decision of Nigerians to say, we are not, we are tired of this system.
When you say collective, you're talking as if you are not a Nigerian.
I am, of course.
A lot of us have been advocating for a review for the electoral law. A lot of us have been saying that this 1999 obnoxious constitution should go. What has come out of it? Now, your National Assembly has embarked on a jamboree that they want to, going from region to region or whatever they're doing, to review the constitution. There's a particular article in that constitution everybody's closing their eyes to. Why? Because the political class are benefiting from it.
What is it?
How can you tell me that...
What is this article, sir?
Good. This idea of people decamping from one party to another.
Okay. Yeah, it's a major issue.
So, what are we talking about? It is the political class.
Let me come there. So, Abdul Latif, you're asking for people to think outside the ballot box.
Yeah.
How exactly?
So, in a country that has high rates of poverty, there's hardly any thinking that can happen. So, it has been weaponized. People are unable to think coherently because they have been put below a thinking threshold. If you cannot think, you cannot act right. Therefore, we are perpetually subjected to this type of poverty such that people, where you have smart people thinking in a direction, you have a majority that is thinking that is not thinking. And it's easy for you to railroad people who are not thinking.
Weaponize poverty.
Exactly. So we must ensure that, our budgeting, for example, for education must improve. Quality education that will make people think coherently and make people call their leaders to account. Because there are lots of questions that are on the mind of Nigerians, but who to ask, when to get the right answers, that is the problem. So until we're able, like I did say earlier on, until we're able to say we have, until we're able to have the funding, the right funding from individuals, we have the right funding from, individual Nigerians who support the party and say, this is how we want to go, this is the direction in which we want to go. It will be almost impossible for you to decide, against the political class that continues to suppress the wishes, the collective wishes of Nigerians.
Very interesting. I'm going to come back to you on that because I think there's still so much to mine there. But we have Austin Azu, who's in River State as well, and he's been bringing us updates. He's here again with another update. Last I checked, I think Austin must have been at Ahoada West, if I'm not mistaken. Austin, please give us an idea of where your location is and what update you have for us.
Yes, Zeno, good morning. You can see behind me voting is ongoing, and most of the voters have done their civic responsibility, and you can see the ballot boxes and the queue inside this particular polling unit. This is Ward 2, Unit 2 at Ahoada East local government area of River State. And the long queue has started reducing. Earlier on, we have a long queue that, from the particular polling unit we are seeing there down to the field. We have some people who have done their voting already, and one of them is the chairmanship candidate of APC here, Mr. Solomon Abuba. Please come forward a little. Okay, please take us to speed. How was the voting process like?
Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon. The voting process has been peaceful. We haven't had any issues, no complaints, and we've casted a few persons. The crowd has reduced. I have casted my vote, and totally peace has happened here today. Thank you.
Okay, what's the presence of security like within this particular local government area? We saw some security agencies. How have they been complying with the tenets of policing the polling unit?
Yes, just like you have said, the security agencies have been fully on ground, well mobilized, and then you can see that the atmosphere has been peaceful, and of course their presence has also made it peaceful, even if we have not recorded any form of violence. Everything has been going peacefully. Thank you.
All right, you are the candidate of the APC, chairmanship candidate. Can you bring us to speed at what time did the materials and the ad hoc staff of RISEC arrive this particular polling unit?
Well, from the top of my head, the materials arrived here around about early enough. 8:30, the materials were here speedily, and then voting started almost immediately after that. Thank you.
All right, we have Farida. Farida Zakari, please step forward. Okay, Farida, you have done your voting as well. Okay, bring us to speed. How was the process like?
The voting, well, what should I say? Voting was good and everything we voted, so I don't have anything with the voting. So everybody voted and the voting goes well and no problem. Everything is good, nice, nothing. So thank you.
Okay, Zachary, before I let you go, were you given any kinds of funds, money for you to do your voting?
No, they did not give me.
Assuming you were given money, would you have collected?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I can see some of them distance themselves away according to the laws of the, RISEC, that they should be, some meters away from the polling unit, and they are well armed as well. But there's no casualty, no issue regarding to, voter violence here at this particular unit. Hopefully, at the end of the day, the election will go smoothly across the local government area and across the state. Back to you in the studio.
Okay, not too fast now, Austin. We still want to ask you something. Now, we see that you give us a very diverse view of the kinds of voters that we have there. We had the older lady, the young woman, and of course the gentleman there. Does this represent what you're seeing throughout the entire polling unit? How inclusive is the election? Are there any representation for people, or any consideration given to people who are aged, for instance, or those who have certain mobility challenges?
Okay, I think let me return back to Blessing and answer that question. Okay, Blessing, yes. When you came to vote, I assume that you are aged already. Were you given little assistance for you to climb the staircase? Were you given professional treatment for you to move forward to go and vote? Were you given professional treatment that you shouldn't stay on the queue?
Yeah, after the chairman votes, I was the next person to went to vote. Nobody, I climbed the step myself. I'm strong enough to climb the step now. So I climbed it myself. And they gave me preference to not to go back, to stay in the front. So it was nice.
Okay, apart from you, do you observe any advanced person who came to vote and the person was given such professional treatment or not?
Yes, there is a woman who is advanced as well. She's behind me. But when we enter, she was the one who voted before me. They gave her the preference. It's okay.
What about the people disabled, blind, maybe crippled and all those?
I've not seen the cripple here. You understand? As we are here, I've not seen the cripple or blind. But I wish if there is a blind person, they will help him or her to enter and vote. Because that is our duty as a Nigeria, to come out and vote.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, Zeno, I've heard it from some of them who are on ground here. And we believe that, like the question you rightly asked earlier on, I believe it has been answered. Obviously, we'll be going further from this place to go and observe other polling units to know how things are unfolding within those areas.
Okay, thank you very much, Austin Azu. We'll be coming back to you soon. We'll also be reaching out to Ni Balani and also Biola Festus, who are also in River State there with you. Thank you once again. We're going to go on a break now. When we get back, we've got more questions for our guests here. Well, at least one of them is a guest. The other one works here. We'll be back with more. Do stay.